I am Professor A Mendez from the Planetary Habitability Laboratory at the University of Puerto Rico at Arecibo. I will be talking about how we can use habitability models to understand exoplanets. This is a particular application of the models we are developing with a large group of colleagues to study the potential for life of planets from microenvironments to global biospheres. As an example, I will be presenting one model applied to exoplanet. But first, I want to talk about some fundamental of habitability. Here are some common assumptions about habitability in exoplanet. First, that we can define habitability, but this is a well-defined concept in biology in at least the last 40 years. Also, that it's impossible to quantify exoplanets' habitability because we don't have enough information about these worlds. But you don't need all information to assess habitability. Finally, that any habitability model pretends to determine if planets are habitable or not, an impossible task. We all understand that this is our wish, but this is not the main purpose of habitability models. Let me explain. Here are 6 types of environments we know that the terrestrial ones are habitable, and we presume that the planetary ones, Mars, the Moon, and Venus, are not. The only way to determine if any of these places are habitable in the common sense is by finding or putting life on them, which is observable in the terrestrial case. So since habitable models are not life detection instruments, although they might provide some guide, their purpose instead is to understand why the difference, why some places are better, also why some are worse. In other words, these models help to identify and understand the key environmental variables or limiting factors controlling the abundance of life. Thus, the binary habitable not habitable problem is an oversimplification of what habitability models do, leading to misinterpretations of their applications and usefulness. So let's formalize some basic concepts of habitability. It is defined as the suitability of an environment for life. It is proportional to the carrying capacity, which is the maximum stable biomass that an environment can sustain. This is how we quantify habitability. Finally, habitability is used to determine how a set of environmental factors impact life, their presence or abundance. The key thing about this statement is that the set of environmental factors are not necessarily the only important ones, but you want to understand how significant or not are they for life. Here is the general equation used to quantify habitability in biology. The study conditions are based on a set of variables of interest compared to some standard, as long as they are proportional to the carrying capacity of the system under study. In practice, you construct a library of models, each for the specific environment factors of life of interest. Let's see how to construct a habitable model applied to global biosphere as an example. The first step is to select a space of time of interest. Here we are taking the near surface layer of the planet. We select then some variables of interest. Only radius is known for most exoplanets, but other variables can be modeled from, for example, general circulation models to explore potential scenarios. We then select primary producers on land as our life of interest, since they are the base for other life forms. And at this point, we look for any known ecophysiology response curve of our life with any of the variables of interest. We know about the impact of temperature on them. In step 4, we pick a standard of comparison, Earth's surface in this case. It means that we are calculating habitability relative to Earth's primary producers. We then parameterize our variables into a mass energy model that we are developing. The key here is to find how your variables of interest relate to the mass, the energy, and the quality of the environment. Usually, this is not hard to do. The Q parameter here includes information about the quality or fraction of the environment available for life. So here is enclosing that Q parameter, the biology. Finally, we try to validate our model. We don't have the luxury of validate these models with any global biosphere in the universe, but we did with Earth by creating a 2D version of the models that correlates with carrying capacity. So we found a linear relationship between habitability and net primary producers, that is biomass produced by unit of space and time. This means that our global biosphere habitability model can be used to constrain the potential total biomass relative to Earth that can be produced in an Earth-like planet as a function of our variables of interest. Here in red, we constrain the surface temperature of the 7 planets in the TRAPPIST-1 system, assuming albedos and greenhouse for none to thick atmosphere, less than 10 bars of CO2. We're using a surface temperature model that we proposed in our 2017 paper about equilibrium temperatures. But now we have values using 1D to 3D circulation models. Also here in greens is our upper limit habitability estimates using our global model. Only planets D and E have a non-zero value, with E slightly better, but both lower than Earth. So how can we interpret this? For example, we can say that any biosignature signals, if any, is more likely to be stronger in a planet E than D. If we find that the reverse is true, then this might mean that a different biology is at work here, since our model was based on terrestrial biology. So the point here is that this habitability model, like this, help to interpret any biosignature detection. In conclusion, habitability models are essential to characterize habitable environments on Earth and beyond because they help to integrate and quantify the effects of many planetary stellar variables on life, like those illustrated in the figure by Mendez et al. Habitability is positively correlated with abundance and diversity of life on Earth, but we don't know if this is true elsewhere. Therefore, any biosignature detection should be complemented with a habitability analysis to help in the interpretation and validation. Planet radius, surface temperature, atmospheric pressure, and ocean fracture are an example of a minimum set of planetary properties to start assessing the global habitability of exoplanet. This is something we can use now to weight results from general circulation models. More information about habitability models, not only applied to exoplanets, are available in our Decadal Survey white paper and an upcoming paper on astrobiology. Thanks.